Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick synopsis of what is transpiring so far throughout the crypto community. We can see XRP's getting basically the entire crypto market's being slaughtered. We had a lot of runs on meme tokens, as you know, with the Trump, Melania, and many other different ones, which brought a lot of capital out of utility tokens, and we've been paying the price for it ever since. You don't just turn 30, 40, 50 billion dollars into the Trump market cap, and well, it's gone down a lot from there, but you don't just turn that kind of capital. Money has to come from somewhere. So it came out of utility tokens in the crypto market. And right now, we've got a pretty interesting time here that we're going to have to, play through. But we're down 4% on the day. XRP was attempting to break outside of what looked like a megaphone pattern. It's fallen back within, and we have a very real shot here, if this doesn't hold this area, of starting to give way a little bit. I'm not bearish, but what I am saying is if you start coming back within this megaphone pattern, it's not necessarily what I would like to see. I would like to see XRP hold this continuation. But right now we've come under a lot of pressure. And if this continues on, you could very well see a head formation. And it could be the worst case scenario if this uses this area as a resistance. And this has been back from the beginning. If we can't get over this $3.40 area, it could end up turning into an obscenely bearish formation. And we want to hold this megaphone. We wanted to hold the megaphone. And right now we're coming into a dangerous level. We're falling below it. And it could just be creating some kind of inverse pattern. But we don't want to be falling back within here. This is where it gets a little dangerous. Once you fall back into this area, it becomes very dangerous, and it can become a very quick drop. Like, very quick drop. And I'm starting to see it through a full compounded effect here. It's not just crypto, but you're starting to see now that Trump took over, I think we're having to buy the rumor, sell the news event. And if this continues down much farther, it could end up being a little bit more difficult than it looks now. Everything that should have reversed up has reversed back within its pattern setup. And right now, it's basically based on Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin's broken out still, make no mistake about it, out of that symmetrical triangle. Does Bitcoin come down all the way, which it's starting to lean that way? Does Bitcoin come all the way back down to 98,400? And then do we get some kind of spike here, since we never filled my technical move to 112? If we come all the way down here and try to rerun back up, it'll be about 111,000. We've got severe liquidity for shorts. And especially if I focus on XRP, there's a lot of liquidity. And we'll get into the heat liquidation map for XRP. There's a lot of liquidity around 345, 350. You're talking several, not even just billions. There's like $1 trillion worth of liquidity. So I'm going to be paying attention very closely to this. Whether this is a fake out, because it appears where Bitcoin's at, it's still on the top side of this breakout. And we're going to have to see when the flip exactly happens from, I'm not talking the flip of the switch from cryptocurrency. I'm talking in the flip of mindset here, because it does seem like an awfully lot of capital is being steered out of here into meme tokens. And that is not a good, this is just what I talked about when the Trump and Melania and all these trash tokens were released. It's driving capital out of crypto. So if your intention is to fleece, heist, and shiest your very people that voted for you, I suppose that's not bad. People think I'm coming down critically on Trump, which I'm not. I like Trump. I'm being honest. When you release meme tokens and take 30, 40, 50 billion dollars of capital out of the market, this is what happens. Money doesn't just fly away and go to money heaven. If it leaves crypto and it leaves utility to another side of crypto, which the memes, it's got to come from somewhere, and they're coming from the utility tokens. But now it's even greater. It's like an assault now, because the Trump token's down about 70% from the top, or 65%. So it's capital's flying away from everywhere now. So now it says, is this an obscene distraction now? Is this Is this a well thought out dump on the market right now? Or is this the start of a major reversal? That's the question each and every one of you are going to have to ask yourself. I personally, when I look at these all-time charts, I'm not seeing a big breakdown. In fact, I'm seeing more evidence that they're trying to manipulate this market right before another push out. But we'll see. We'll see, because a lot of these, as you can see, with DGB, it created a massive inverted hammer now on its most recent time frame if you look into the all-time chart. So it's just something we're going to have to deal with. So I'm going to do the intro. Got to get my son to school by 8:20, so I've only got about 5 to 6 more minutes of this update. Yesterday I was going to do the live, but I was very busy, and I said, you know what? Got to let myself reset. I did a lot of work yesterday still outside of it, but the kids were off of school because they had, it was too cold. You know how they, I call it the wussification now. When we were in school, we would have just went. Now, I don't know what's going on anymore. Gets a little cold and, we're too soft now. So anyhow, we'll get back on track today. The update now, we'll do the short in a little bit. When my son's at his therapy for food therapy, I'll do another update, and that's around 12 o'clock, 12:15. And then we'll do our live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as normal. But we'll watch this finicky market right now. As we said, XRP's down about 4%. We've fallen back below the Megaphone pattern, which could be seen as somewhat bearish unless we break back outside of it. Otherwise, we're back into the consolidatory zone. And Bitcoin's still over the top of a breakout of the symmetrical triangle, but if it backtests it, it could come all the way down to 98,000 area. So just consider that. Good morning. 7:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I'm just going to focus on XRP. We've talked about Bitcoin a little bit. We know the XRP chart. There's nothing more I can show you. We've fallen back within the Megaphone, which I did not want to see this morning, but it is what it is. And we'll see if we can get a quick recovery, or if this is, if we're just going to continue dropping down. And I mean, if you fall through here, the most likely scenario is in the 2 hour, you find your way back all the way down. In the 30-minute, let's see we've reversed back down as well. This doesn't look great this morning. We need to get back outside of the Megaphone immediately. So we immediately need to see ourselves back on top of the $3.09 mark. Otherwise, this is the start of a very, very, very painful reversal. And if this is the start of a very painful reversal, this could be the start back down to 260 and beyond. So, just pay attention. Everybody who asked me if they should buy in these areas with XRP, I say if you didn't buy at 35 cents, are you really buying it because it's 10x now, or 9.5x, or are you just buying it because of FOMO? So that's the question you always have to ask yourself. Algo, IOTA, continue to pay attention to those. I am. Big bull flag, massive inverted hammers on back-to-back on IOTA. So if you haven't bought into there, I would definitely consider layering in. But again, Algo, when we were buying it, was at 10 cents. IOTA was at like 10 or 11 when we first started. So now that they're 3-4x, but they still have a long ways to go in totality. It's just we're getting an assault through the markets right now, and there's been things through executive orders that have been put into place that is playing into this, but I don't want to get about that right now because I'm limited on time. But what I do want to show you is, don't forget this heat liquidation map. Don't forget the heat liquidation map on XRP. And I want to bring it into, let's take it down to the 1 week real quick, just let it reset. But look at all of this liquidation here. If you don't think we can come back up there, you have not been paying attention. If you look below us, look how small the liquidations are in the weekly. 50, 60, 70. So we're just kind of stepping down here. You always chase these big liquidity areas. 265, 300, 260, 280, 260, 212. That's in the billions. That's not millions. That's billions of dollars in liquidation. Now, if you go into the 2 weekly, it gets a little more interesting because you don't really see any significant levels on the way down. You've got one right here at $2.81 if you want to double bottom. And, you see 299 billion. There's a couple layers here. A few layers around 280 down to 270, 260. So you could technically wipe out a bunch of liquidity on the way down all the way to that $2.31 area. So we've got this liquidity here. And if we go up to $3.30 roughly, actually it's a little bit lower, 328, you can start seeing 229 million or billion in liquidation. You keep going up. And then by the time you get to $3.38, what is it? 338, you got 473, 491, 551. There's a couple $1 trillion in short liquidations if you just come back up here. So yes, I see us how we're coming down right now, but I see a ton of liquidation that I would be shocked if they don't get. So that's what I'm seeing this morning. That short liquidation I think is going to come into play in the days to come. I would be stunned if we don't come up to that 344, 345 area, maybe a little bit higher. Like I said, there's a couple $1 trillion in short liquidation up there. So I feel like this is a liquidity grab right now. But who knows? This could obviously flow the wrong way. When it comes to commodities, I can see the assault. So I've just been basically layering out of commodities and putting just into silver and the gold itself and not worrying about commodity stocks on this front, because unfortunately what we were seeing in the market is actually playing out. And once it busted my support structure, you know, it's becoming too dicey now. And I think we could possibly play all the way back down for B2 gold to 194. I wanted to make sure to talk about it. It's the same thing with the silver miners. Everything is being assaulted right now. And it started, unfortunately, here in the last couple of weeks. And now we've just got to see the proper fundamental play out, because this is going to get brutal before it gets better. And it's starting to right now. So, like, things are looking a little brutal here. Pretty bad. So, have a blessed morning, everybody. And I'll catch you in this afternoon update.